about evictions? You know, I listened to this all day when they weren't talking about New York Governor Cuomo and the charges against him and the sexual harassment and yada, 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 yada. I'm not minimizing the charges against him. I don't give a shit if they're Democrat, Republican, or, you know, from Venus. I really don't care. The kind of harassment that these people, these white males, primarily white males, I know there's Cosby, but primarily white males and primarily Christian white males, the kind of sexual harassment that they keep fucking doing over and over again. And then when they get caught, it's part of my culture, grabbing a woman by her breasts, sticking my hands down her jeans. Oh, it's part of our culture. Yeah. But I've been trying to listen around the bullshit about Cuomo. And by the way, the charges against Cuomo, these are not criminal charges. These are civil charges. So what does that mean? It doesn't mean a damn thing. The New York legislature, in order to get rid of him, will have to impeach him. You think they will? They have to impeach him and convict him. Cuomo's not the type who's going to say, okay, you caught me. I'm out of here. Shit. During the course of this pandemic, this is from Judd Legum. I hope you've been going to the website I told you about, Popular Information. But the latest piece he has up is about the eviction blame game. We are neck deep in evictions in this country as of, Sunday, the 1st? But as he points out, during the course of the pandemic, members of Congress and the executive branch were able to put aside their bullshit differences to quietly provide virtually unlimited support for corporations. What did you think I was going to say? Huh? There's a little notice change to that 2020 CARES Act, for example, which allowed corporations to use losses from 2020, 2019, 2018 to retroactively receive refunds for taxes paid going back to 2015. You know what this costs the American public? Almost $89 billion. The corporations always win, don't they? Capitalism has a stranglehold on humanity that is not going to relent until the fucking planet no longer can sustain life. So anyway, today, right now, the 3rd of August, 2021, Tuesday, more than 15 million people live in households, apartments, houses, whatever, that are currently behind on their rental payments, which puts them in danger of eviction. And collectively, they owe about $20 billion to landlords. Now, most of these people, not all of them, but most of them had been protected by that moratorium ordered by the Centers for Disease Control, the CDC, on evictions because of the pandemic. And that expired on Saturday. And about half of these 15 million people are now expected to be evicted in the next 2 months. How about this? So, what is the Biden administration doing? What is the legislative branch doing? In other words, what is the federal government doing to prevent this honest to God, no bullshit humanitarian catastrophe in this country? Well, they're doing a lot of finger pointing. For example, on July 29th, when was it, last Thursday? 2 days before this moratorium expired, And remember, let me digress. Remember what the Supreme Court said back in April or May or something, that one more extension, the extension and this moratorium through the month of July, okay. And they ruled 5-4 with the drunk Kavanaugh siding with the liberals and John Roberts. And they said, okay, one more month, then fuck them. It's over. No extensions. So 2 days before the moratorium expired, last week, Friday, Saturday, whenever it was, the Biden White House released a statement. Here's what it said, in part, quote, President Biden would have strongly supported a decision by the CDC to further extend this eviction moratorium to protect renters at this moment of heightened vulnerability, end quote. You see, the problem, according to the statement from the White House, is this, quote, when the CDC extended the eviction moratorium until July 31st, the Supreme Court's ruling stated that, quote, clear and specific congressional authorization via new legislation would be necessary for the CDC to extend the moratorium past July 31st. Now, a lot of questions about that. That's debatable. That could be just horse shit. But the Biden White House put the responsibility on Congress to act. Are you kidding me? This Congress? These Christian fascists? And then on Saturday, just passed, Speaker Pelosi responded that, quote, the Senate would not be able to extend the eviction moratorium because it lacks the votes. Now, that may be true, end quote. That may be true, but it tries to sidestep the reality that House Democrats lack the votes from within their own conference to pass an extension through December. You know, Christmas. The holiday for the celebration of the bullshit celebration of the birth of the little baby Jesus. Right. So instead of forcing Democrats opposed to extending the moratorium to take a vote, a difficult vote, Pelosi attempted to pass what she called a shorter-term extension that would last through October 18th. Through a procedure called, here it is again, unanimous consent. And predictably, it was blocked by the Christians, the Christian fascists. Yeah, I know, Pelosi's a Christian. So on Sunday, 2 days ago, Pelosi and other House leaders, according to Judd, said that action extending the moratorium, quote, must come from the administration, end quote. See, finger pointing, buck passing. These House leaders, with the cooperation of Nancy Pelosi, said that extending the moratorium, quote, is a moral imperative to keep people from being put out on the street, which also contributes to the public health emergency, end quote. But the U.S. House of Representatives, under the shaky control of the Democrats, has not, however, interrupted its 7-week recess to address this issue. Do you think the millions of people that are facing eviction give a rat's ass about this kind of stuff? They don't want to be put in the street. The children want to have a place to go do their homework, a place where their parents or a parent or a grandparent can cook dinner for them, can take care of them. But the leadership of this country doesn't give a fuck any more than they care about global warming, any more than they care about insisting that this goddamn pandemic be halted through force. I don't give a shit if they lock people up who are not vaccinated. Forced vaccination. Go ahead, tell me I sound like a real dictator. And these situations that we're faced with now, with this dicking around by Democrats and Republicans when we have three major fucking issues facing us. I don't give a shit about any of the niceties about, well, we have to debate this. Well, we may challenge you in court. Well, I don't know. Well, what about this? Well, what about that? Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcasts. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.